So today we are going to be making a chicken and gnocchi soup. So first, what we're going to need is our potato gnocchi. And then we need a diced onion. So I got a pre-diced onion. It just makes it easier. You don't have to worry about chopping up an onion yourself because it's already done for you. Celery, so we're going to need to dice the celery. Minced garlic, and again I have that pre-minced so you don't have to cut it up yourself. If you prefer to do that, you can. Cooked chicken breast, so I have frozen chicken breast. Again, it just makes it easier. You don't have to cook a chicken breast and cut it up. It's already done for you. Chicken broth, so I have low sodium chicken broth. We also need spinach leaves, which I have right here. And then we're going to need half and half cream. So now we're going to dice our 3 stalks of celery. So first with celery, it's important that you wash it. There's going to be some visible dirt that just comes right off as you wash it. Just make sure they're clean before you start cutting them. So when I'm dicing celery, what I first like to do is just cut off the bottom and the top ends and set those aside. And then, since we're going to dice it, I'm going to slice it right down the middle. And then hold those 2 sides together and just cut. Now we have 1 diced stalk of celery, and we're just going to do the same thing for the next 2. And there we go. Now we have our 3 stalks of diced celery. So first, what we want to do to get the soup going is get a large pot and put it on the stove on a medium heat, and then we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then we're going to let that heat up. So after heating up our olive oil, we're going to cook our onions, our celery, and our garlic. So I'm going to add in all of my diced celery that we did earlier. And then I'm going to add in my onion. And next, I'm going to add in my minced garlic. So the recipe calls for 3 cloves of minced garlic. So I'm just going to guesstimate 1 teaspoon each to get my 3 cloves. Now we're going to let it cook until our onion is clear. So I'm just going to take this and stir it all around, mix it up, make sure everything's getting the olive oil evenly and everything is getting the heat evenly as well. While the onion, celery, and garlic are cooking, since I have some frozen chicken breast, I'm going to go ahead and thaw that so there's not a lot of cold frozen chicken breast going into my pot after the vegetables are cooked. So now that our onion is clear, that means that it has cooked. We are going to go ahead and add in our chicken breast and our chicken broth. So we need 4 cups of chicken broth, which is the equivalent of 32 ounces. So we can just go ahead and pour this whole container in there. And now we're going to stir in our chicken breast right here. Just carefully dropping it in there. And now we want to mix that all up and then bring it to a simmer. So just keep it on a medium heat until you start to see some small bubbles form. You don't want it to be at a boil or definitely not a rolling boil. So just keep an eye on it. So now that it has reached a simmer, we can go ahead and we want to stir in our gnocchis here. So Just be very careful about how you pour that in, that you don't splash any sort of hot liquid up on yourself. There we go. And we just want to mix that in and keep an eye on it for 3 to 4 minutes. When the gnocchis are cooked, they will all be floating. So while you're cooking the gnocchi, make sure you're just stirring this every so often to make sure that everything is cooking evenly. So you can see that some of the gnocchis are beginning to float. I just want to leave it on for a couple more minutes until it seems like the majority of them are floating, which means that they're all cooked. So now that the gnocchi are cooked, we want to go ahead and add in our spinach. And then we just want to stir all the spinach in until it wilts. Now you can see that our spinach has wilted, and we want to go ahead and add our half and half. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of half and half. 2 cups is 1 pint, so we can just pour the whole pint right into our mixture. And we want to make sure to mix that all up. So now we're going to let that cook and continue stirring it for about 5 minutes or so. You just want to make sure you're keeping an eye on it, continue stirring it. You just want to note when the soup has thickened up. So now that you can see the soup has thickened up, we want to season it with some salt and some pepper. So I'm going to season it with the salt first. And then I'm going to season it with my pepper. There we go. And then we can go ahead and mix that all up. So now the soup is ready to serve up and enjoy. It's also easy to store it in the fridge and reheat it. It makes a lot of soup. And so personally, I've eaten it over the course of a few days, just keeping it in my fridge.